You're at a dinner table, not even a fancy one, just someone's house, overcooked chicken, cheap wine, and somebody across from you says, casually, yeah, our advisor moved some funds around after the market dipped. You nod. You chew. You don't taste anything. Another person laughs about locking in a 5.9% refinance right before rates went crazy. Your jaw tightens. You do the math in your head. You remember the email from your bank last month, 7.8%. You told yourself it was temporary. You reach for your glass just to have something to hold. They're talking about Roth conversions now. Backdoor strategies, tax efficiency. You stare at the table for a second too long. You wonder if anyone notices you haven't said much. Your phone lights up. You almost check it just to escape. And it's not that you don't work hard. It's not that you're irresponsible. But in that moment, it feels like everyone else got a memo you never received. Like there was a class somewhere, a conversation you weren't invited to. You smile again. You say, that's smart. Later that night, you lie in bed. You're awake, staring at the ceiling fan. You replay the numbers. You replay the tone in their voices. You replay your silence. It's not the money first. It's that small, quiet heat in your chest. Like you're behind. Like you missed it. And I don't think we talk about that part enough. Let me say this before you shut the video off. You're not lazy. You're not bad with money. You didn't miss some secret masterclass where everyone else learned how to build wealth. I've been in this industry 10 years. I've sat across from surgeons making $400,000 a year who couldn't explain their own credit utilization. I've seen engineers who can model complex systems freeze when you ask about their retirement contributions. This isn't intelligence, and it's not discipline. It's exposure. Most people were taught how to earn, not how to structure, not how the system actually scores you, not how compounding really behaves when contributions are aggressive versus casual. You were handed student loans at 18, credit cards at 21, a mortgage before anyone explained amortization properly. Then someone at a dinner table makes it sound like they just optimized. Of course you feel behind. The system rewards people who understand timing, sequence, and leverage. It quietly penalizes people who don't. That's not a character flaw. It's architecture. And I might be wrong, but I think a lot of the shame you're carrying doesn't belong to you. It belongs to a system that never explained itself. You've probably heard this one. Credit scores only improve slowly over time. Or this. By 40, you should have 3 times your salary saved. They sound responsible, mature, almost moral. Technically true, practically misleading. I've watched someone score move over 100 points in 3 months. Not because of a trick, not because of fraud, because they finally understood how utilization is calculated, when balances are reported, what percentage actually matters. Time wasn't the driver. Structure was. And that salary benchmark, 3 times by 40. It assumes steady income since your 20s. No career gaps, no layoffs, no medical events, no helping family, no starting over at 32 because something fell apart. It's a clean formula for a messy life. Benchmarks are built on ideal conditions. Real people live in variables. The danger isn't that the advice is wrong. It's that you hear it and your shoulders drop. You check your numbers. You're not close. So you back away slowly. I don't think we talk about how paralyzing should can be. Should makes you feel late. Should makes you compare. Should makes you avoid logging into your own accounts. And here's the part that might irritate someone. A lot of financial advice is written by people who never had to rebuild from behind. They explain averages. They don't explain recovery. There's a difference. And once you see that, you stop measuring yourself against someone else's timeline. You start asking a better question. Not am I where I should be, but do I understand how this actually works? That's where the shift happens. All right, let's pull the curtain back a little. No hacks, no secret loopholes, just mechanics. Credit scores aren't mystical. They're formulas reacting to inputs. Payment history is the heavy weight. Missed payments stain. On-time payments stack quietly in your favor. That part you've heard. But utilization, that's where people misunderstand. Your score doesn't care how much you owe in total as much as it cares how much of your available limit you're using at the moment. Your card issuer reports it. That report usually happens once a month. Not on your due date, on the statement closing date. That timing matters. If you run a card up to 80% of its limit and then pay it off after the statement closes, the system still saw 80%. If you pay it down before the statement cuts, the system might see 10%. Same income, same spending, different snapshot. That's not a trick. That's how the model reads data. Wealth works similarly. People think compounding is magic. It's not. It's math attached to behavior. Compounding responds to two things: time and contribution intensity. Time helps, yes, but contribution intensity is what most people underplay. Someone making $200,000 who saves 5% is compounding slowly. Someone making $90,000 who saves 25% and increases contributions every year? Different trajectory. Same market, same index funds, different fuel. Income matters, but what you keep and deploy matters more. I've seen clients obsess over picking the perfect ETF while ignoring the fact that they're only investing what's left after lifestyle inflation. That's backwards. The system rewards consistency and scale, not cleverness. And this doesn't sound glamorous. It won't impress anyone at that dinner table. But once you understand the mechanics, something shifts in your body. Your breathing slows. You stop guessing. You stop hoping. You start adjusting variables: payment timing, utilization percentage, savings rate. Contribution increases, not dramatic moves, structural ones. And when you see the system as inputs and outputs instead of judgment, it stops feeling personal. It becomes adjustable. That's when progress stops being mysterious. It becomes mechanical. A few years ago, a client sat across from me with a yellow legal pad. No spreadsheets, just scribbles. Credit score, 612. Two cards nearly maxed. One auto loan at an interest rate that made him wince when he said it out loud. He kept tapping the pen against the paper. Not fast, just steady, like he was bracing. He wasn't reckless. He just never adjusted the structure. Paid on time mostly, carried balances, assumed time would fix it. We didn't do anything dramatic. First, we added him as an authorized user on his wife's older card with a long, clean history. That age transferred, quietly. Then we changed payment timing. Instead of paying once a month after the statement, he split payments. Brought utilization under 30% before the statement closed. No extra income yet. Same spending, just timing. Within 90 days, his score moved 88 points. He didn't celebrate. He just stared at the updated number on his phone screen. Then we redirected the freed-up interest savings toward debt reduction. Snowballed the highest rate balance first. Built a small buffer, $1,000, then $3,000. Automated contributions at 10%, then 15%. 2 years later, his net worth wasn't impressive by Instagram standards. But his car was refinanced at a lower rate. His credit score was over 740. He had 5 figures invested. And here's what mattered more. He stopped flinching when money came up in conversation. Shoulders relaxed. That's what structure does. It doesn't create overnight millionaires. It creates momentum you can feel in your body. And once you feel that, you don't go back. Order matters more than effort. I've watched people try to fix everything at once. New budget, new investment account, crypto on the side hustle ideas at 11 p.m. They burn out in 6 weeks. Start smaller, start in sequence. If your credit profile is weak, don't obsess over perfect investments yet. First, stabilize the structure. If you can responsibly become an authorized user on a clean, seasoned account, do that. Then control utilization timing. Keep reported balances low before the statement closes, not after, before. Then request limit increases once your profile strengthens. Higher limits lower utilization automatically, assuming spending doesn't inflate with it. That's credit. Now money flow. First, plug leaks, subscriptions you forgot. Interest bleeding at 22%, that's friction. Second, eliminate high-interest debt. Not emotionally, mathematically. Highest rate first. Third, build a buffer, even a small one, because emergencies without cash force bad decisions. Fourth, automate investing, even if it's 5% to start. Automation beats motivation. Then increase it, gradually, every raise, every bonus. Finally, increase income. Negotiate, switch roles, build skill leverage. Income growth accelerates everything else, but only after the base is stable. Sequence creates traction. When you move in order, each step strengthens the next. When you move randomly, progress cancels itself out. This doesn't sound exciting. It's not supposed to. It's stable, and stability compounds. Here's something I wish someone had told me earlier. Progress doesn't always take decades. Meaningful change can happen in 90 days. Not millionaire change, structural change. A credit score that jumps because utilization finally dropped. An interest rate that gets refinanced. An emergency fund that exists where there used to be nothing. 90 days is enough to feel different. And then there's the other side of it. 25 years. That sounds long. It sounds abstract. It isn't. 25 years of consistent contributions at a serious savings rate can separate two people earning the same income by millions. Not because one was smarter, because one started correctly. Starting early helps. Starting correctly matters more. I've seen 40-year-olds feel doomed because they didn't invest at 22. But I've also seen 40-year-olds change their trajectory so aggressively that by 65, the gap was irrelevant. Time rewards intensity and consistency, not regret. And I might be wrong, but I think people underestimate how fast momentum feels once it starts. 90 days to breathe, 25 years to build something unshakable. Both can be true at the same time. This is the part that quietly ruins people. Not low income, not bad markets. Shame. Shame turns into avoidance. Avoidance turns into delay. Delay turns into numbers that get worse. Then the shame gets heavier. You stop opening statements. You tell yourself you'll deal with it next month. Next month becomes a year. I've watched this cycle more times than I can count. Smart people, capable people, just stuck. Because looking at the numbers felt like admitting something about themselves. But money isn't morality. A credit score isn't a character report. Net worth isn't a personality trait. Once you name the cycle, it loses some power. Shame to avoidance to delay to regret. It's predictable. And predictable things can be interrupted. You don't need to feel confident. You just need to act before avoidance gets comfortable again. Because comfort in avoidance is expensive. And it compounds too. Don't research this for 3 weeks. Don't build a color-coded spreadsheet. Within the next 48 hours, do one structural thing. If it's credit, check your statement closing dates, not your due dates. Make a payment before the statement cuts, or request a credit limit increase if your profile supports it, or become an authorized user on a clean account if that's appropriate. If it's wealth, increase your retirement contribution by 2%, not 20. 2. Automate it, or eliminate the highest interest balance you have, or move money into a separate account labeled buffer and don't touch it. No waiting for perfect clarity. Motion first. You don't need a full transformation this week. You need proof that you move when you decide to move. That changes something internally. And it doesn't require permission from anyone at that dinner table. Let me leave you with this. The benchmark doesn't matter. The direction does. You can spend years measuring yourself against someone else's timeline. Or you can adjust your structure and start moving. Quietly. Nobody at that dinner table needs to know. Nobody needs to see your contributions increase, or your balances drop, or your buffer grow. This isn't about looking ahead. It's about actually being ahead in a way that doesn't require applause. And maybe one day you'll sit at a table like that again. Same conversations, same tone, only this time your shoulders won't tighten. You'll just listen. And you'll know something they don't. That's enough.